Welcome. This is Wendy with Love and Stampin', and we are going to be using the Be Jolly stamp set from Stampin' UP. Before I get started, I want to make sure you know that all the items I'm using today are linked in the description below the video, including this masking paper that we're getting ready to use. You can use any kind of masking paper that is for card makers, and here I'm just actually doing placement. So we're going to talk about how I'm making the card and stuff. We're also going to have some chit chat time because I got some stuff to tell you. So anyway, I'm using my Stamparatus and I am starting out with a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 cardstock. No, it's 4 by 5 1/2, I think, because it's got the strips on the side. I made this a while back, so bear with me. I'm using Memento Tuxedo black ink and I'm stamping this little Happy Santa. Now you saw that I placed him by putting the mask on top of the cardstock, laying down the Santa, and that is how I was making my decision as to where I wanted to stamp the Santa. Why? Because I want my Santa to be poking into my framed masked, or my framed ink blended area. So it's important that you get your placement of your stamp correct when you are stamping. Now I'm taking a piece of that masking paper and stamping onto the masking paper, and I'm going to hand cut out the Santa, which you did not need to see. It's time consuming, people. So we're going to take the stamps, and I don't know why I was showing you the stamp set again. Gosh only knows. Anyways, so now I'm taking my Santa mask and I'm going to apply it over the top of the little Santa where I stamped him. And then we are going to put our other mask that we've die cut out of. Well, okay, so full disclosure, I die cut this square out years ago. This mask has been sitting in my arsenal, I guess you can say, for probably 5 years. Seriously, that long. So you can cut a square using your trimmer, or you can use any die that you want to, any shape you want, and die cut out of the center of your masking paper. Make your masking paper the same size as your cardstock. So you see here that the masking paper is completely 100% covering my cardstock, except for that opening, that square. I'm using Misty Moonlight, I believe is the color I chose, and I'm going in on this square and just adding all the ink. I obviously sped it up a ton because this took a really long time. So really good ink blending that's really smooth and pretty and even takes a long time. You cannot rush it and you cannot force it. The heavier handed you are, meaning the more you push down, the more uneven your ink blending is going to be. Now in this case, my ink blending was okay to be a little bit uneven because this is supposed to replicate a night sky. So I wasn't too concerned about it having a little bit of unevenness. Now I'm removing the Santa mask, which I always feel like it's like Christmas. Like, woohoo! Haha, no pun intended. Christmas, Santa. Okay, I digress. And now we're going to color. And I'm leaving the coloring in real time. I am not speeding it up because I wanted us to have plenty of time to discuss the coloring and catch up on some other stuff. So I'm using real red ink here, the dark, to go in at the bottom of his hat. And I'm going to put the darker color in anywhere that I feel like would be a little bit darker, and then the lighter in the lighter. And then I also have a dark cherry cobbler sitting over there where I can add in some shadows if I want to. So let's color this Santa, and I'll skip back and forth filling you in on the coloring and on just our chit chat, what's going on. This is just kind of like life update story time because, you know, it's been a minute. So one of the things that has happened recently is Truvi had surgery again on her eye. And some of you who have been following me for a really long time already know this. I have 4 dogs, 2 of which are Vizslas, one of which is almost 4 years old, and the other is 5 months old, or not quite 5 months. Truvi's our older Vizsla. She's 4, or will be in December, and she gets these little growths on her eyelid. And the first time she had one was on her ear, and we did not have it biopsied because she was only 2 when that happened. And then she had one happen on her eyelid, and we did have that biopsied, and it was like cancerous but not cancerous. You know how that kind of thing is? Like, basically, technically, it was a cancerous cell, but not like the kind that we had to necessarily freak out about or worry about. So they removed it, and everything was fine. And here's that dark cherry cobbler. So you're going to really see here where it adds that just extra little bit of shading that makes a difference. So I had this, so she got another bump, another little lumpy, they almost look like skin tags. That's what it reminds me of. But they grow, right? So that's kind of the issue. So I took her into the vet, and they removed another one. So the first time we had this done, it was $900. This time it was $700. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is getting really expensive. I mean, what's the other option? I can't just let her have these growths, but it is stressful when you are spending that much money on, veterinary care. Which is why I tell people now all the time who want to get an animal, I hope you have a little savings account set aside for incidentals with your animal, because that is something I see most often with pet owners, myself included. Not now, but it used to be the case where I always had a pet, but if anything came up with them that they needed to be cared for, it was always like this major stress in my life, because it's usually not cheap going to the vet. I mean, really. So now I have a contingency plan for it, and I set money aside for things like this. But honestly, there was a time in my life where I didn't have money to set aside for a vet. So the truth is, I probably shouldn't have had a dog, but that's neither here nor there. It is what it is. So on this little Santa, I made his gloves black, his boots black, his belt black, and then I used Daffodil Delight to color his buckle. And then I'm going in with light smoky slate on his beard to just add some shading and shadows here and there. I'm not coloring his whole beard gray because I want his beard to appear white. But the only way for it to appear white is to add a little bit of shading. By not adding shading to your white areas, they just look stark white and kind of weird, if I'm being honest. So you can see how the white areas kind of come to life when you add a little bit of shading. So I always recommend that. Anytime you're coloring anything that's supposed to look white, you can leave the majority of it white and just add a little bit of shading. Honestly, I probably could have added even a little bit more than I did to warm it up just a smidge, but it's fine. I'm not going to overthink it. It's a card, right? And here I'm using ivory for his face to just have my little Caucasian Santa. And then I'm going to use, I think I ended up using Petal Pink for his mouth. I don't know. We'll see. I can't remember. No, Calypso Coral. Calypso Coral for his cheeks, light Calypso Coral for his mouth and his cheeks. Such a good blush color. Okay, so there, he's done. Now we can finish the card. Anyway, so basically, she went in, she had the spot removed from her eye, and they took a really large margin of skin from that area because the vet said possibly it came back because we missed like a little bit of it somehow. And so then if all it takes is one little cell, as you know, and then it can regrow. So they did a much bigger cut, more stitches, and it looked definitely more gnarly, but it's healing beautifully and she's doing very well. Okay, so that's Trudy. So we took Buddy in at the same time because he was behind on his vaccines and he needed a rabies, distemper, and I think that's it. Rabies and distemper. So we needed to get those updated. And I mean, they were only behind like a couple of months. I just needed to get those updated. So we took him in. He is 11 years old and he is a Chihuahua Fox Terrier mix. And the vet was like, okay, so he has a heart murmur and that can happen a lot, I guess, in older small dogs where their heart muscle just like, basically, it's like there's more blood flushing than should or something. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. All I know is what she told me. And then for a long time now, for probably the last 1.5 to 2 years, he has done this thing where when he gets excited and he's like jumping around, he coughs. And we always thought it was because little dogs have a problem with a lot of the time with their trachea, and they do this thing called reverse sneezing, and it's the weirdest noise, but it's kind of like the mix of a cough and like somebody who's like gasping for air. It's weird. Anyway, both of our little dogs do that. And so we thought that that's what it was. We thought it was like an exaggerated version of that. Well, in talking to this vet, she said, no, I think he probably has an enlarged heart because what happens is they start playing and being active, their heart muscle starts working more and it pushes on their lung area and then they cough. So what to do about this? I don't know. Like, you guys can weigh in on this situation. He's 11 years old. So the options are getting an x-ray to find out if he has an enlarged heart. If he does have an enlarged heart, then they can put him on heart medicine. Do I bother? Like, I know that sounds super callous, but okay, I want to preface this with saying, I am a country girl. I grew up with people who did not believe in like spending a bunch of money on dogs. So already I do way more for my animals than I was taught or raised to do, just because I'm so crazy about them. Like, I love them so much. But Buddy is 11 years old and I don't want him to be on medications or on something that is going to have other side effects or that's going to be super expensive. Like, if this heart medicine is really expensive, I just don't see it being a feasible thing. Now, I recognize there are people out there that are going to be like, that is part of your family. You should spend whatever. It shouldn't matter. And at the end of the day, I will just have to agree to disagree. A dog is not a human. And as much as I love dogs, and if you know me and you follow me, you know that I am a huge dog lover. And I just told you I spent all this money on Trudy's eye. So it's not that I'm not willing, but at a certain stage in life, nature's process just begins to take place. And Buddy has lived a really amazing, good life. And she said he could live many more years just like he is. So, okay. Wrapping back around so you have all the information. So option 1 is to get him an x-ray that will cost $200 and that will tell them possibly if he has an enlarged heart. Option 2, if they can't find anything on the x-ray, would be to have this almost makes me laugh just saying it, a canine cardiologist come to the facility and do an ultrasound of his heart, which would cost around $500 to $700, depending. At the end of all of this, the bottom line is, I'm not sure there's anything we're going to do any different. So I'm struggling with why put him through the stress because the dogs always get stressed going to the vet. All dogs stress. Animals in general get stressed going to a veterinarian. So I struggle with, do I just let him be, or should I be taking these steps, these measures, or just the vet said, like, the other thing you can do is just ride it out for now. Like, if he doesn't get any worse and you don't see any changes for a time period, then you can just, like, let it be. So I don't know. There's that too. Anyways, that's the situation. Okay. Then there's Molly. Molly is our dog that is like crazy. She's has so many issues. She does not play well with others. She is super unpredictable. She doesn't bite or anything, but she's not friendly. Okay, so Molly has issues, and one of her issues, so the vet asked me, she must have given the vet a run for her money, because the vet would ask me when she had her checkup and her follow-up shots, like, do you have a lot of problems with her? So I went into the whole explanation, and I'm like, some days I think I have anxiety because of Molly, like, because she constantly runs around, yaps, barks, jumps, like, she's just, something is not right with the dog. That's all I can tell you. So that being said, the doctor was like, well, let's put her on an anti-anxiety medication. Freaking fabulous. I don't even give it to her every day. I only give it to her, like, when I can't take it anymore, her behavior, when I'm like, I can't deal with you one more second or I'm going to choke you. Then I give her one of these pills, which is actually a quarter of a pill. So I think the whole package of pills is probably going to last her lifetime, because it's a big bottle of pills, but she only needs a quarter of one. And it is wonderful, you guys. I give that dog a quarter of a pill when it's needed, and she just is chill the rest of the day, and it has saved my life. Like, she was making me I didn't even realize how stressed I was by her until I started medicating her. And then I realized, wow, I have been, like, stressed out by this dog for so long. So anyway, we're going to give Santa a little shadow. I started to do it right there. I thought that was a gray marker and it was black. And I was like, whoops. So I grabbed my gray marker so I can give him a little shadow under his feet, so that it doesn't look like he's just floating in the air randomly. And then they also told me with Molly, she needs a dental done. Now, she just had a dental situation done, like, I don't know, probably a year and a half ago. And that's super expensive. Like, it can be anywhere from $300 to like $800, because they don't know until they get in there if they're going to have to extract teeth. And if they have to extract teeth, that costs more money. So they have to go under anesthetic. They do the whole thing. They do the whole teeth thing. And then they have to extract teeth if need be. But apparently her teeth are really bad and need to be addressed. So that's on the list now of things to save for the animals, because I do think that their dental health is important, and I do want to get that taken care of, because it can cause other issues. So I'm trying to avoid the other issues, basically. And here what I'm doing here is I'm trying to figure out the placement for my stamp, and I was really struggling with it. So now I'm cleaning the stamp because I've gotten it all ooped up with ink, but I still need to put it back down on the mat, or on the card. So anyway, that's what's happening. I could have taken a piece of acetate or window sheet and put it on here and then line this up, and that would have helped, but I didn't think to do it. Okay, so anyway, that's what's happening with all of our dogs and the money that they're costing us. In other news, my daughter has started playing volleyball. Volleyball is an interesting sport. I've never played volleyball. Well, I don't have a athletic bone in my body, so Wendy stamps. Other people can play sports. My husband is extremely athletic, and he played basketball through high school, and he was like the star basketball guy, and he played in college, and so yeah, he's got all the athlete stuff going. And thankfully, he gave that to my daughter. She did not inherit my lack of abilities. She got his side on that. Thank you, Lord. So she has been playing volleyball. She had her first volleyball game on Thursday, and it was really good. Like, their team won, and it was fun to watch her play. And she got voted team captain, which I think is really cool, that she was voted in as the team captain. She does have a lot of awesome leadership skills, and she, my husband really sat down and talked with her about what it meant to be the team captain, that it's, about motivating people and inspiring them and leading by example. It's not that you get to be the boss or tell people what to do. It is that you are being an example. So anyway, it was good. It was good stuff. So she's been playing that. So we have volleyball games every Tuesday and Thursday. And you know what, you guys? This is what happened. My phone said it was dying. I film with my phone, just so you know. And it said it was dying. And I was like, oh no, does that mean it didn't catch? So I had to fix it. Anyways, so I'm lining this up and putting it on a piece of Misty Moonlight cardstock. The cardstock I'm putting it on top of is cut at 4 1/8 by 5 1/2. So this is just kind of like a cool strip panel that's going to go on the front of a card base. And I just love how this card turned out. It is so cute. I wish I would have made more of them, actually. So I'll probably make more. I mean, honestly, it's just so dang cute. You've got all the little shiny sequins, all the little dots. I used my jelly roll pin for that. Again, I'll link to below the video for all the supplies that you've seen here today. And yeah, that's that. Okay, so that finishes off our card. Everybody's doing good, happy, healthy, good. Other than my dogs are a mess. Skeeter is the newest addition to the family. She is almost 5 months old, and she's in perfect health. No issues at all with her. She's got all her vaccines now, so she can go on walks and go running out around by the lake, and we don't have to worry about her picking something up that could make her sick. All right. And that's that. This is the finished card. I hope you love it. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, thoughts for me, always drop them below the video. Remember, kindness is contagious. I appreciate it when you are kind to me. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. If you want to shop with me, shoploveandstampin.com. And I will catch you in the next video. And you can watch either one of the videos